you get rich?
I created your favorite beer.
What beer?
Samuel Adams.
You created Samuel Adams?
Yes, I did, 40 years ago in my kitchen.
What was the most amount of money you made in a single year?
That was like $2 billion.
What did you learn about branding? Because obviously the Samuel Adams, it's iconic. It's in all the airports. It's in all the concerts. What have you learned about branding that enables you to get into all the distribution that's possible?
I learned branding's not that important. You know, when I was trying to figure out a name for it, I had lists of names. I boiled it down to like 2 names, and they were about equally popular with people that I would ask about them. And I look back on it, and I called it Sam Adams. I could have called it New World Boston Lager. I think it would have been just as successful, because at the end of the day, marketing is very overrated.
Really?
What really works is a better product. I mean, ask yourself, how much stuff do you buy because of fancy marketing versus products that are actually superior? That's what people want. And we had a better glass of beer.
So you think people, they put too much emphasis on marketing when they should be focused on building a winning product?
And working your ass off to sell it. That was what worked for Sam Adams. 6 weeks after we hit the market, we got picked as the best beer in America. The company was 2 people. Here we are making the best beer in America. We didn't hire our first marketing person for 10 years. But by the time we hired one marketing person, we had 80 salespeople. Selling is underrated. Marketing is overrated.
Now take me back to the most life-changing conversation that you ever had.
You know, it actually came from my uncle, and he was a really very smart guy, worked really hard, worked his way up at Goldman Sachs without an MBA or anything. He was in sales, and I remember he called me, and he was one of my original investors, and he asked me, well, what did you do today, Jim? And I said, well, I went and shopped for computers. I went up to New Hampshire where there's no sales tax because I needed to save that money. And I looked at a computer, haven't bought anything yet. And then he cut me off. He says, oh, computers. You know, Jim, I've seen a lot of businesses that went broke. And they all had computers. But they went broke because they didn't have any sales. Go out and start selling your beer. Do you have any customers yet? And I said, well, not yet. You know, I was trying to get everything set up. And frankly, I was just scared shitless to go out and cold call on bars because I never sold anything in my life. He said, go out and get 1 customer every day and don't come home till you got that customer.
So you can't be afraid to go sell your product.
No, you're the best salesperson there is if you genuinely believe in your product. That authenticity is very powerful. Being a slick salesman is way overrated. Being genuine, sincere, authentic, that's a big deal. People don't see that so often.
They say that sales cures everything.
That's exactly right. You know, no business went broke because they had too many sales.
How did you get the money to start and grow this business?
I stripped everything down. What do I really need? Not what I want, not what I'd like to have. What is the absolute minimum I need to start this business? And how do I start a business on a shoestring? So, for example, I found a way that I didn't have to build a brewery. I found an existing brewery where I could contract my production. I realized I don't need an office because I can use bars to do business. I can have business meetings there. So I didn't have an office for a year. I did everything from pay phone booths. I could tell you where all the good payphone booths were in Boston, and I focused on absolute minimum of things. I needed to buy great ingredients, so I brought in hops from Bavaria. I needed the best brewmaster in the world to help me, so I went out and hired him. He was the guy who invented light beer, and I couldn't really afford what he cost, but I gave him 2% of the company, which turned out pretty well for him. So I just skinnied everything down. What's the absolute minimum I need? And threw off what I don't need.
Did you invested all your money back into the business?
For the first 15 years.
At what point did you diversify?
Well, we went public in 1995.
You guys are public.
Yeah. And this is another good piece of advice. If you get to the point where you can go public, keep the voting shares. So we went public, but I have all the voting shares.
You don't want anybody else to control your baby.
Exactly.
And do you think that's the risk with taking on too much investors, is that, and you giving away control and say away to other people?
Yeah. I basically sacrificed some of the economics for control because I don't want to work my ass off every day for somebody else.
You started this thing, you're going to make the decisions.
Yeah, I'm a really, really terrible employee.
I love that. And you learned that early on, I'm assuming?
In my entire life, I've never had a boss.
How old are you now?
76.
What's your name?
Jim Cook.
Jim, if me and you died tomorrow and you could leave one more guiding principle with the younger generation to build the business of their dreams, what would that be?
If your ambition is to become a billionaire, good fucking luck. But if your ambition is something different, like I want to make great beer, I want to create a beer revolution in the United States, which is why I named my beer after the great revolutionary Sam Adams. If you have those kind of meaningful ambitions, you'll do well. And in some ways, getting rich is life's biggest booby prize. People who aren't happy want to get rich. You know, what would you rather be, rich or happy?
Happy.
There you go.
You got amazing advice, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for your time. I appreciate
I know.
that.